Hi everybody, this is Alchemist 2 and I'm back with another series review. I just watched a new episode of American Gods. The episode was called The Secret of the Spoons, or The Secret of the Spoon. And in this episode, we now know who Wednesday is, and my theory was actually correct about him. And we go on a trip to Chicago to meet the Tsarnaev sisters, and apparently there are three sisters, and I'm assuming that they resemble Maid. What is it? Youth, Maiden, Maid, Mother, and Crone. That's the old Wiccan tradition, or the three fates. I'm thinking that's whom they resemble. And of course we have Chernabog, and I thought, we're getting into Russian folklore here, which is very intriguing. And Wednesday is a sly dog, and not only that, but he's a horn dog too. Go figure. And he's got away with the ladies. And I really like his character, and I love what he says about how Shadow can't become a magician because he has none or no character. And of course, Shadow takes it as a slight. What is very intriguing about this episode is the very beginning, and this character, I don't know who this character is, but I'm fascinated by him. He's a shapeshifter. And at first, when the slave sees him, the slave doesn't know he's a slave, but he sees him, he's praying to his goddess, and it's a tarantula or a spider. And very creepy, very seductive, very knowledgeable about the world and its experiences, and a whole lot of distraughta in him, and just vengeance and venom, and I don't know why, but I really like this villain and I want to know more about him. We just see a glimpse of him in his purple suit, and I'm like, oh, you are fine. And it's very ironic that he talks about subjugation and slavery and how black people are effed, and I'm not gonna say the word. He uses epithets for that. He does not sugarcoat it. He says in 100 years you're still going to be screwed. You're still going to be getting the shaft as African Americans. What you want to do now is burn this ship down, burn all of those Dutch MFers. And it's just this colossal scene of the boat going up in flames. And then what I really love about is the shot at the very end after it goes up like a powder keg, and the fire on the water. It's very dramatic and a good contrast of light and shadow. And then we've got the little spider wriggling out into the sea on the shore, and it's so neat. And what I really love about this is just the artistry that Neil has, and how he views the scene and how he frames it, especially between Chernabog and Shadow. You see light and dark, and of course Chernabog says, "I'll be black." When he plays checkers, I thought, of course you would be, you're demonic. And he wagers Shadow unwillingly, he wagers his head in a game of checkers. I thought, do you really want to do that, my friend? This is going to end badly. And it does, and I'm not going to say what happens, but it ends on a cliffhanger, of course. And this episode was amazing. I'm still wondering who the black woman is. They have this statue. She walks into this room. She just kind of has this very sensual. I like her too, even though how she consumes is very interesting. Let me just put it that way. If you've seen first episode, you know of what I speak, and I think, oh, good Lord God. And there was one thing I really enjoyed about this episode, other than the Tsarnaev sisters. I love the Tsarnaev sisters, especially the Crone. She's so wise and wonderful, and she doesn't take any guff from anybody. And when Chernabog comes in, he's talking to Shad. He's like, what are you doing here? Get out of my house. And, of course, Eldris, Zarnaev says, once invited cannot be uninvited. And I love how direct she is, how frank she is, and just how smooth of a talker Wednesday is with her. I'm like, oh, wow. But when they're talking to each other, of course, I just have a feeling that she's the main fate of the three fates. And one of the fates is asleep. I don't know if that means anything, but I just have the sense that it does. And like I said, the framing of the scenes, and especially when they boil the espresso and when she reads the grounds, it looks like a crow, a raven. Ravens are messengers of death. If we go back to Norse mythology, there was Munin and Thummim, I do believe. And one is memory and the other is something, I can't remember what it is. But they were two of the emissaries of Odin. And another legend of the crow is that of death, the foreboding of that. And of course, there's a flashback to after he fought the technical kid. We remember the technical kid. I don't think he had a name. I don't think we were introduced to him properly. If he did, I missed it. But when we're given his introduction in Prime episode, he has a flashback to the noose, and then there's just a cascade of this crimson blood that comes out of the ground. I'm thinking, what the heck? And there are a lot of scenes in this that just have that whole what in the world's going on, especially when he goes into the store and we have a technical goddess speaking to him in the guise of Lucille Ball. I don't know why she chose that form, but it's just so different, and it's very unique that she would take kind of this retro appeal to herself when she's a goddess of technology, and she gives him an offer to work for her, and she appears just as this all-knowing creature. And I thought, whoa, this is really getting out there. But I love every second of it because there's just so much richness to it and context due to lore and legend and a lot of symbolism. And the dandelion clock, I'm kind of curious of the dandelion clock in and of itself, that whole scenario. I'm not going to say what happens because what happens is epic, but it's just it's so interesting. I thought, wow. I mean, I'm literally mesmerized by this television show. It has not disappointed me, and Neil Gaiman has hit another homer, and I cannot wait. I'm in love with Wednesday. I like this goddess character. I adore the Crone in the Zarnaev sisters, the power of three. That's very. I'm thinking that's going to be integral later on. It's just a concept that we see time and time again. It's a very popular trope, but it works, especially in this case, and it has more than once. Three is actually more popular. You see trios more than you see duets. It's just, something about the Trinity. I think it's just the whole concept of that, and may not be tied in with the holy, but I was looking at the actual title screen, and it is so rife with meaning. You have the Star of David, you've got Buddha, you've got the Mother Mary covered with a shroud that looks like a bunch of wires, you've got a menorah that has little adapter inputs in it, and electronic methodology of just plug and play, so to speak. And I thought, oh my, that is quite a statement about religion. And of course, then there are all the drugs, and I'm thinking that's a religion in and of itself. And you've got gambling in the guise of that Vegas cowboy. You've got machines, these turbines that are spinning in the beginning. Don't think I don't notice things like this. And I thought, okay, that's, and then automobiles, yes, the god of the 20th century. Well, actually, what brought us into the 20th century. And another thing I was remembering, Morris, he speaks of, I wanted to mention this because I know it's important. Morris's first SOS, not SOS, but message through Morse code was, "What hath God wrought?" That's true. That's actually fact. Look it up. And I thought, whoa, he's really getting into history here, and you can learn something from it. And I'm just so, I got to see what happens next. I have to see what happens next. Man, I don't want to wait until next week to see, but I'm going to have to. So until next time, live long, prosper. Ciao, tutti.